My name is George Pollock. I am the Marketing and Communications Manager at the Radiation Safety Institute of Canada. And it's my very great pleasure to introduce our speaker, the President and CEO of the Radiation Safety Institute of Canada, Dr. Fergal Nolan. I've worked with Dr. Nolan only for a few weeks actually, but in the time I've come to know him, I've come to respect him greatly for his knowledge. He is a gentleman and also a gentleman. So without further ado, Dr. Nolan.
We've met before, I think, last year as well, and I'm glad to see you again. Today I'm going to talk to you about the report, the final report of the Radiation Safety Institute on the alpha exposure incident at Bruce Power. Now, as you all know, this was a very difficult experience for a lot of people. It was strange. It was dealing with something that people had not heard about, alpha radiation. And it caused a lot of consternation. In February last year, all the parties approached the Radiation Safety Institute and asked us if we could do an independent review. And we've been working very steadily at that. We had an interim report last fall, and the final report came out in July. So I want to talk to you about that. Do sit down. Anywhere at all. You can even take a front seat. I'm not that dangerous anymore. This is the final report. It is written in according to the principles of the Radiation Safety Institute of good science in plain language. Now, if you guys think that's an easy thing to do, you have another thing coming, because this was a real struggle to do this. The science was very, very thorough, and the writing of that and translating it into plain language was very thorough and very, very difficult thing to do. But I think we did it. We did it for you, right? So that you would be able to read it and understand it. So I want to talk about this report because it's meant for you to read. And we promised at the beginning that this report would be available to everybody, right? So all your representatives, all the unions, and all the labor unions, building and construction trades have it. Bruce Power has it. And I was told just last week that the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission also has it and is studying it. The Ontario government has it. The Comstock and the building contractor company, that was the leading group, has it. And AECL has it. So everybody has it. Now, I also understand that some of the locals are putting it up on their websites. And I heard, I think yesterday, that Bruce Power is thinking of putting it up on its website as well. So I encourage you to read it, and it's thick. It isn't a novel, but it is a good story. Right? So let me tell you how it's set out. It's set out in 3 parts. The first part of this report is part 1, is a general review of the whole situation. And it starts with the question, what happened, right? And it goes from there. And it takes you through to where we are, and when we come in, and it also ends up, I think it ends up, with 7 questions that workers asked us. Very crucial questions. We were asked many questions. These are the 7 main questions we thought were the most significant that workers asked us, including the first one we deal with is that sexual intimacy question that people wanted to know. If I've got alpha radiation, I make love to my wife, is she getting alpha radiation too, right? Very good question, and we answer it in here, right? So the second part is the scientific and technical review. And that is very, very thorough, right? Very, very thorough. And then there's a third part, which is where all the scientific and technical and supporting documents are. So in the scientific and technical review, we've tried to write that in plain language, right? And the supporting documents are for the scientists and I don't recommend that you have to go into there, but there's some wonderful science done in this report. Remarkable science, especially on the dosimetry and especially on how it came to be that there was those radioactive contaminants in those pipes in the first place. Two very crucial pieces. The major piece in there is on the dosimetry, the technical report. We went and we got a top-notch technical scientists group, expertise, and brought them in to examine this whole question. And all that's in this report. So we have also an executive summary right at the beginning. And in that executive summary are the principal findings of the report. And there's also a summary of recommendations. Now there are 8 principal findings in the report, and I'll go through those in a few minutes. I just want to give you the overview. And there are 19 recommendations. So we have recommendations. We have a recommendation on the role and responsibility of government, federal government and the provincial government. And this has been a very crucial piece of work in this report. We have a recommendation on the new scientific knowledge that with the scientific research done at Bruce Power as a result of this, we recommend that it be shared throughout all can-do operations. Right? We have 2 recommendations on the radiation protection program at Bruce Power itself. And I'll go over all of these with you. And we have 4 recommendations on training of personnel at Bruce Power, from the radiation protection systems to the health physicists and the whole training program at Bruce Power. This is very important. We have a recommendation on the alpha monitoring program in which we say, when we examine that, and we recommend that there be an independent assessment of the alpha monitoring program now set up at Bruce Power, the renewed alpha monitoring program. That is, there should be now an independent assessment within 1 year of the setup. We have a recommendation on what's called the extent of condition. That's a technical term. It was new to me when I got into this. But it means on the examination that's going on the possible exposure of workers before the Bruce A restart exposure. And that's an examination that's very thorough, it's quite impressive, being undertaken by Bruce Power. And then we have 9 recommendations on alpha dosimetry. And that's a whole technical section, and it resulted in that whole examination of the dosimetry to determine the dose from alpha radiation exposure. We have 9 recommendations on that. Right? So that's to give you an overview. So there's a lot in this report, right? And even if you don't read all of it, do take a crack at it and see what it thinks. It's written for you to read. And the technical parts, the really technical parts, have been put in a separate section. And don't worry your heads about that, but it is translated and the findings are all translated. So let's get to the slides here.